All right, so our next speaker in the second half of the session is Dr. Zhou. And Dr. Xi is a professor of environmental engineering at Hunan University. He holds a PhD in civil engineering from University of Tennessee at Knoxville. So he's no stranger to U.S. You spent quite a bit of time here. We're delighted to have him. He's going to talk about an overview of recent research on water and wastewater treatment conducted there in his department. Okay, so welcome, and the floor is yours. Thank you.
And also, good afternoon, colleagues. It's my pleasure to be here. You know, in 1991, I went to the United States to pursue my PhD degrees. And 7 years later, when I finished my degrees and I went back to China. Now it's my pleasure to be here, to be in the United States, also be in the CSU. So I would like to take the opportunity to express my sincerity thanks to give me the chance to introduce some of the current researches conducted in our department. I think that's my presentation will include the following parts. I don't think I can finish all the topics in details, so mainly I'm going to focus on the first one and the second one. Others will just go run fast. If you're interested, later we can contact and discuss. Okay, let's go to the first one. The first one is a carbon nanotube and its composite electrodes for competitive deionization. Here's the schedule. In the first, we bought that CNTS from a commercial company. That's the Shenzhen Nanotech company. This carbon nanotube with a length less than 2 micrometer and with a diameter of 20 to 40 nanometers. Then before we do the experiment, we first do some pre-treatment, just calculate that the tubes at 850 centigrade. Then we put the CNT in air polymer activation units. Later we'll show that otherwise. And using that the radio frequency SCP and to activate the CNT, then we got to activate the tubes. The third step is we try to introduce parallel groups on the surface of that the carbon nanotubes. What we have done is just put that polymer activated CNTs mixed with ammonia peroxide disulfate, and also adding the pyro monomers. We stir them for, I think it's for 1 or 2 hours. Then let them precipitate and get that's the composite. Okay, here's the details of the procedures. With many of the details, but later if you're interested, we can discuss it later. Okay, here's just the diagram of that plasma activated devices. We assembled by ourselves. We cannot buy from the company. Actually, which one is the point?
Small one.
Small one, okay, thank you. Here's, here's the cylinder made of the quartz. So that's the nanotubes we put inside. And here's we we put that air inside and keep that actually it's a vacuum as 10 PA. Then we start with that RF as SCP, so it can activate that the carbon nanotubes inside the quartz cylinders. Here's actually this picture is showed actually set up that device. This is the details about the CDI cells and the experiment devices. Once we get that carbon plasma activate the carbon nanotubes, then we mix with some polyethylene, then just scrap on that the stained steel while the mesh, so made that the electrodes we showed here. I think that's the black one, 2 pieces of that. Then we put some of that assembly with some other, just to make them keep them the certain spaces between the 2 electrodes. Put inside here. So that's the solution, bearing some of the minor ions. We pumped here inside the chamber, and pump, I think here, sorry. Pumped inside, and effluent comes here. So when that's the solution pass through the gap of the 2 electrodes, when we apply that's the electrodes, or apply that so that's it's going to stick on the surface of the electrodes. Well, let me show some of the result. Here's the 2 pictures get from that's the SCM. The left one is the CNT, or just of the plasma activation. See, that's the tube, and a lot of pores. So with a lot of specific surface. This one is just the plasma activated the CNT oft introduce some of that's the parallels. So the parallels was covered on the surface of the tube. Okay. Further, we do some of the measurement to quantitate that's the change of the surface area, just of the activation with the plasma. Also, further of the introduce the parallel monomer on the surface of the tube. We found, see here, of activation compared to the initial one, the specific surface area decreased here, and that's the interesting one of the point that we explain. This one, we do the TJ analysis to see if the group, the parallel with the stable linked on the surface. And the data shows relatively it is stable. Of course, besides the original carbon tubes, this one is relatively stable, especially when we applied in that common temperature range. Further XPS analysis and the FTIR spectrums we showed here. Sorry. Here's the XPS analysis result. compare the two curves we found after, after the plasma activation, the oxygen and the nitrogen content increased. That means must be some of the oxygen or nitrogen containing groups introduced on the surface of the carbon nanotubes of the plasma activation. Here's the analysis of the FTIR, also show the change of the absorption pattern. Also, later we go to detailed analysis that show that they do show some of the groups. See the carbon and the nitrogen groups and the carbon double bonds and the single bonds, the groups appear just after plasma activation. Also, some of the groups that's hydroxy groups and also the hydroxy groups linked to carbon. Also, the band, the density of the band was increased. These groups could be play very important role in for the removal of the electronic absorption of the metal ions from the solution. Here's another result we get from the FTIR. We do here is more just enlarged absorption pattern here, as shown these diagrams. We do the comparison of the area ratio of the band at this wavelength over this wavelength, which the result showed that the ratio for this composite are great than for that synthase. This result indicated that the conductivity for this compound used for the electrodes must be increased and indicate that the conjunction lengths are shifted to the synthase. Since this one can enhance conductivity of the composite electrodes, so there also could be enhanced the removal of the heavy metal ions from the aqueous phase. Here's the result. We do the measurement for the residual concentration for the metal ions. We choosing the leaders as the module ions to do the experiment, and the result showed. See here, the starting solution here. As time's going on, the remaining solution, the concentration of the leaders decrease fast. They do show after activation the carbon nanotubes, so the performance for remove the lead ions do increase. And also from this diagram, we do the regressions that show that the kinetics follows that the pseudo second order kinetics model. This one is showing that the data see which isosome can fit the data. And we found that the Langmuir isosome can fit in the data much better than the others. And from the engineering point, you may ask, does it, if you apply it once, does it can be regenerated? This result shows yes, it can be regenerated. See, as the solution starting here, after a certain time, the remaining concentration in the solution drops down here. Then we switch the positive and the negative, so the ions absorption on the electrodes can be released into the solution at this level. So it's pretty good, very close to like 80% or something like that. Well, from the experiment, we can make some of the summaries. The point one is that plasma activation can enhance the CDI, remove of ions, through introducing oxygen and nitrogen containing functional groups on the electrode surface. I think that this kind of groups can make the surface very polar, hydrophilic, so it can be easily interaction with the ions. The second point, iodine polypyrrole could be further enhance the CDI performance with the improvement of the conductivity. The third one is this kind of technology could be promise for removal of the heavy matter from that aqueous solution. Okay, that's the based on experiment. We already published some of the papers. I think that's some of this finished by my PhD students, the 4 papers. Okay, the second topic I would like to introduce is the novel absorbance for water treatment. Maybe we can. Okay, sorry. Okay. That's the one is using the iron oxide coated sand. The aim of this research is just remove the antimony and the phosphate from wastewater. Antimony is a big issue in Hunan province because there are a lot of many areas that produce some of the non-ferro and the metal products. So this one is cause some of the big problem in the surface water. Here's the top one is the raw sand, and the bottom one shows that of the coating with the iron oxide. Here's the device, the calling experiment for that experiment. See some result. See, that's the result. So that's pretty good. That's the it's the move of that's the I think it's the metal ions. Other result for phosphor remove. Okay, we also using synthesize some of the quartz sand coated with the not just the iron oxide, also the graphene oxide. It's the schedule and the setup. That's the experiment units. And here's the SCM that the top has just the photographed, and the bottom one is the get from the SCM. See, the surface is a little bit different. Also, the result for the moving of SB and the other 2 metal ions also it shows a pretty good result. Other experiment will not go time limits, will not go in details. That's the details for the procedures, how to synthesize that the material. That's publication of that the research result. Okay, The other is we also using the modified Gaulian clay with other coating with other compound. That's the SCM result, and also identifications with the XPS as the procedures at publication. Here's the result. It shows some of the, they can do remove of some of the metal ions, also phosphate. Another material, we're not going into detail, just pop out some of the result. See, you can drop it down. Okay, the third one topic is we have done some of the research on the photo degradation of CCS. CCS means chlorinated aromatic compounds with the composite, the photocatalysts coated with the multi-walled carbon nanotubes. Here's the reactor, photoreactor, and also the result. That's pretty good compared to just using the single titanium dioxide. They do enhance, there's some enhancement. Okay, there are other researches carried out by other guys in our groups. That's using ion exchange membrane for the water purification, mainly just to move the ions. The goal is we need to take that advantage. Just when we using that donor dialysis, so these procedures could be low energy consumption, but hey, here's the result. The phosphate, concentration dropped down. Here's some of the remaining. That's the membrane inside. We take how much they can remain inside that at the different counter ions concentration. The fifth topic is we are doing is sludge dewatering by combined flocculants and lysozyme. Here's the result. We try to using the lysozymes enhance the dewatability. Also, try to break it down. Break down the coupling of the synthesize in the degradation of for the cells during the activate at the sludge processes. They should. Okay, the last one I think is one of the young guys just come join our groups, and he wanted me, just mention his research and try to fund the potential, the cooperation, the factories here. What he's doing is, the characterization of the organic matter. That's pretty good. That's popular, as a couple of persons here identified, eutrophication is common as a huge problem, not just in the United States, also in China. So here shows, it's a bunch of spot here. That means a lake here has the problem, eutrophication problem. That's the Taihu Lake and the Ehai and Dianci in the Yunnan province. See, that's the horrible pictures. That's once the eutrophication of the. Well, what he did is do a lot of it's the identification using flow centimeters and fluorescence analysis. And I'm not very familiar with that, but he did a lot of works and tried to identify this kind of algal originate from this algal, the organics. Here's some of the result. Okay. and that's the the ratio of different cellular organics. Well, that's why would I take the chance to acknowledgement that the above research was partially sponsored by the National Science and Technology Pilot Program of China. That's the 12th fifth years plan, and also the National Natural Science Foundation of China. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Xi. All right, so Dr. Lee, come on up. And Glenn, you want to get him set up here. Question for Dr. Xi. Well, go ahead, please, Dr. Jen.
Well, I have a couple of questions. I know
Go ahead. Yeah.
For that material, you said you quoted iron oxides to sand. Did you use heat? How did you?
Yeah.
Well, actually, we're using the cell gel method.
So let me give you the mic. So the question was, how did they coat the sand with the iron oxide? Go ahead, talk to the mic so they can.
Oh, okay. So basically, we're using the cell gel method. Cell gel, yeah. So if you want to know, I can give you the details about that. It's more specific. It takes a bunch of steps. Yeah.
You also talked about titanium
Mm-hmm.
oxide and carbon nanotubes
Mm-hmm.
and for photocatalytic
Yeah. Right.
reactions. Did it react to visible light or UV light?
UV light.
UV light.
Yeah, that's.
Okay. Was that artificial titanium oxide or it's natural tile?
Artificial.
Artificial.
Yeah.
So
We produce by ourselves.
and it still only reacted to UV light.
Yeah. Right.
One more?
If you allow it.
Oh, very quick,
Oh,
please.
Okay.
Dr. Lee's waiting.
It's more a comment. Looks like for your first research and second research, you're coating your material with different charges. One is kind of negative charge, the other one is positive charge.
Yeah.
So you can take positively charged metals
Mm-hmm.
and also the negatively charged anions. Is that the purpose, or I know you didn't get into the details.
Well, okay, that's a good point. For some of the, for phosphate or even for the metal ions, when they dissolved into the solutions at different pH, there may be they may not be solely exist as the positive ions. Maybe they combined, such as the oxygen form the groups, but the charge is negative. So you can remove that using the CDI.
Good. Thank you, Dr. Xi. Okay. Give it a hand, please.